Time now to take a look through the international newspapers, and for that I'm joined by Katerina Vitosi. Hello, Katerina.
Hello.
Starting off in Pakistan and a look at what the papers there are saying about the anti-US protests.
Yeah, this is a story which is across all, well, indeed the majority of the Pakistan front pages. Let's take a look at the Pakistan Today, the front page there. Very striking picture of the protests around the US embassy with regards to this perceived anti-Islam video, this film that's been created in the US. The tone, although this is a factual piece, it's very interesting to see the tone taken by Pakistan Today, like their editorial line, very violent language, adjectives like this hate-mongering film. They talk about blasphemy and rage. Inside the paper, they have the title there. You can see slit their throats. Unclear whether this is something that perhaps the demonstrators have been saying. The paper doesn't go on to sort of be precise about that. But so you get a sense of it's very much a reflection of the anger that is being generated in Pakistan with regards to this film. And the paper also goes on to have a little look at the Indian government's response. Very interesting to say that they have made it impossible to search for the video of this film online. So if you go onto Google in India, you won't be able to find this film. Google executives have confirmed that they own YouTube. You can't search for it in India. So I thought you would be interested to go and see what the Indian media, how they've been covering the events there. It's a lot more muted. It's very interesting to see, this was such big news, front pages in Pakistan, obviously.
They have very strict blasphemy laws, of course, don't they?
Absolutely, and there's, and in India, very little, a lot more sort of an editorial comment saying, quell the chaos. Very much, let's sort of keep this, let's tone this down. And in fact, very interesting, the piece there saying how not only is violence against the US embassy unacceptable, this is embassies across the world, but it also somewhat undermines peaceful protests that we've seen that have been having such an impact, during the Arab Spring.
Moving on now to coverage of anti-Japan protests in China.
Yeah, this is the front page of the Wall Street Journal Europe edition. China protests against Japan gather steam. A very striking photograph of a protester in China throwing a canister of tear gas back at riot police. This story obviously making international headlines. Thought it would be interesting to have a look at mainland Chinese press to see how they've been reacting. Beijing News, this is one of the major dailies in mainland China. State-owned, state-controlled, of course. The headline there, divide patriotism from irrationality. This is very much a tone that's been taken through across a lot of the Chinese media, in terms of the state saying we support the reason behind these protests. These are very much these contested islands, the contested versus Japan. These are our islands. You have a right to protest, but just tone back the violence, tone back the rhetoric. Then interesting to have a look across at Japanese press, what they've been saying. Japanese Times say this could be a bit of a double-edged sword by the Chinese state sort of tacitly condoning these protests. At the same time, the Chinese leaders could be getting themselves into a bit of trouble. Could these protests backfire, become one protest could lead to another?
And a quick look at coverage, of course, the topless photos, the Kate Middleton.
Oh, yes. British media have been going crazy about this across the weekend. We see the majority of front pages still on the story of the topless photos of Kate Middleton. Daily Telegraph talking about the criminal investigation that's been launched today in France. The Sun also, the British tabloid, The Sun, they call it a Kate crime. Very much a sentiment of hands off our girl, these topless photos. The British media very much still confirm and resolute in their stance that we are not going to publish these photos. And as you can see, The Sun there backing that up.
Right, they're not normally that kind. Well, not to everyone, are they?
No, but the heroine of our time and generations in Britain, it seems.
All right, thank you very much, Katerina.